Scotland erupts. Chaos exploded in Falkirk today as protests outside a migrant hotel spiraled into fiery clashes between furious locals, police, and counter-demonstrators. What started as a demonstration fueled by outrage over a horrific crime has now gripped the nation, with scenes of raw tension flooding headlines. Buckle up, because we're diving into the heart of this storm, but first, smash that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered updates. Let's unpack the madness that unfolded in Falkirk and why Scotland's on edge. Picture this: the Claddin Hotel in Falkirk, a place that's been housing 50 to 80 asylum seekers over the past few years, became ground zero for an explosive showdown. For 18 months, tensions have simmered in this community, but they boiled over after a shocking revelation. An asylum seeker staying at this very hotel was sentenced to 9 years in prison for raping a 15-year-old girl in broad daylight. The crime, which happened in June, sent shockwaves through Falkirk, leaving locals seething and demanding answers. They're fed up, and they're not staying quiet about it. The hotel, once just a building, is now a lightning rod for rage, with residents saying enough is enough. Let's set the scene. On one side of the street, you've got the counter-protesters, groups like Stand Up to Racism and Unison, who showed up an hour early to stake their claim. They came in force, 100 strong, chanting and waving banners, determined to drown out the opposition. Across the road, the protesters, locals and members of grassroots groups like Save Our Future, Our Kids' Future, are gathering, their numbers swelling by the minute. Over the next hour, more will pour in, their anger palpable. The air crackles with tension as both sides face off, shouting, gesturing, and trying to outdo each other. It's a powder keg, and everyone knows it. We tried to catch up with Connor, one of the key voices among the protesters, but he was deep in conversation, rallying the crowd. Instead, let's swing the camera around. Over there, the counter-protesters are holding their ground, their numbers dominating for now. But the protesters opposing the hotel? They're still trickling in, and their resolve is ironclad. Groups like Save Our Future have sprung up on social media, channeling the community's frustration into a movement. They're not just here to shout, they want the hotel shut down, period. So, how did we get here? This isn't just about one hotel or one crime, it's a story that's been brewing across Scotland. For years, the Scottish National Party, SNP, in power for nearly 2 decades, has pushed a pro-refugee, pro-asylum narrative. It's a stance that's won them praise in some circles but drawn fierce criticism in others. Locals point to rising crime rates, including cases of sexual abuse, and say the government's lost touch with their concerns. Falkirk's not alone. Hotels housing asylum seekers are dotted across the country, and communities everywhere are starty. Rowling's attack is brutal. She claims Sturgeon's policies created a toxic environment where women were silenced, shamed, and persecuted for daring to question transgender issues. According to Rowling, Sturgeon's luxury beliefs put women in degrading, unsafe situations, especially when it comes to self-identification policies that allow transgender women access to female-only spaces. Rowling points to a Supreme Court ruling that slapped down the Scottish government's interpretation of equality laws, arguing it stripped women of their legal protections. Yet, she says, Sturgeon shows no remorse, doubling down despite what Rowling calls clear evidence of predatory men exploiting these policies. One case looms large: Isla Bryson, a convicted double rapist whose gender identity sparked a firestorm. When pressed on whether Bryson was male or female, Sturgeon, usually a slick communicator, floundered on live TV, looking, in Rowling's words, like a complete quit. It's a moment that crystallized the controversy, and Rowling doesn't let it go. She even throws in a wild literary jab, comparing Sturgeon to Bella Swan from Twilight. Both, she says, started as shy, bookish girls who became obsessed with a single goal: independence for Scotland in Sturgeon's case, and, well, steamy vampire romance for Bella. Spoiler, only one of them got what they wanted, and it wasn't Sturgeon. But Rowling's not done. She rips into Frankly for what it doesn't say. Scotland's grim record as Europe's leader in drug-related deaths. Barely a mention, despite Rowling's personal connection, her husband ran a methadone clinic. Missing WhatsApp messages from the pandemic? Crickets. Declining education standards, the Calmac ferry scandal, and £500,000 in missing independence funds. All conveniently absent. Rowling also disputes Sturgeon's rosy portrayal of the 2014 independence campaign, calling it anything but the pleasant memory Sturgeon paints. The feud's personal, too. Sturgeon recently addressed their clash on BBC Breakfast, referencing Rowling's infamous T-shirt branding her, Sturgeon, the destroyer of women's rights. Sturgeon fired back, saying the abuse she's faced on trans issues outweighs anything else in her career. There are two sides to every story, she said, hinting that some critics, Rowling included, seem obsessed with her. But Rowling's not backing down, accusing Sturgeon of Trumpian denial and ignoring hard evidence. So, what's the bigger picture? In Falkirk, a community's anger over crime and immigration has erupted into chaos. In Edinburgh, a literary titan is taking on a political giant, exposing deep divides over policy and truth. Scotland's at a crossroads, grappling with crime, immigration, and identity politics while its leaders face scrutiny like never before. The Claddin Hotel protest isn't just about one building, it's a symbol of a broader battle. And Rowling's attack isn't just about a book. It's a call to hold power accountable. What do you